hospital?
No.
No. Where are we going?
Hospital.
Who are we gonna go see?
No.
Yeah, Memo's gonna be there. Who else?
That's Seuss.
Dr. Seuss, yeah.
Dr. Seuss. No, a different doctor. But what are we gonna see in Mommy's belly?
Baby.
The baby?
Yeah.
And what are we gonna hear?
Happy.
The heartbeat. Are you so excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do an update video. So the last couple videos that I posted were actually filmed in late November, early December 2018. And so now it's the end of March 2019 and I was having some computer issues and things like that and finally got a new computer. So now I'm able to quickly film videos and upload them in real time. So I want to get everybody caught up from that point till now. So we're going to go from the time that I tested and found out that I was pregnant until today, and I am 20 weeks, almost 21 weeks. So we're halfway through the pregnancy and we're really excited. So here we go. Alright, so the video that I posted of me finding out was done on November 28, 2018. And in that video, you could see the line. It was harder to see the line on the video than it was in person, but there definitely was a line there, and it was really faint. And so I tested again 2 days later, and the line had gotten darker. And so at that point, let me look at my notes here. So at my first test, I was 13 days past ovulation, and then the second test, I was 15 days past ovulation. So I wasn't even 4 weeks yet. But after I got that second test, I called my doctor and set up my initial appointment where they just confirm their pregnancy via ultrasound, and they do that at about 6 weeks. So some of the very first symptoms I had during that testing time and shortly thereafter were I was just really tired. I felt bloated, I felt like I couldn't even fit my pants even though I was really early on in pregnancy. Just felt so bloated, really tired, and then at 4 weeks the nausea hit and kind of ramped up from there and probably peaked at 12 weeks, 13 weeks, and it was pretty steady until probably about 17, 18 weeks. And now it's finally, now that I'm well into the second trimester, it's gotten a lot better. However, my nausea was not as bad as it was with Charlie. I actually never even threw up. I just had a lot of feeling sick and dry heaving and gagging a lot, which is really uncomfortable, but it's better than actually throwing up. So I was very grateful because I definitely had it a lot worse with Charlie than I did with this pregnancy. Some of the other symptoms I had early on were insomnia, I just couldn't sleep, which is usually not a big issue for me. I also had tender breast and pelvic discomfort really early on, which I don't remember with Charlie, but it just felt sore down there. If you go on a really long bike ride and just sore, just from sitting on the bike, it kind of felt like that, but at one point too, it felt like my hips were just coming apart. It was so uncomfortable. That didn't last all that long though, and I haven't really had that issue since. So those are some of my early symptoms week 3, week 4, 5, 6. And so at 6 weeks, I went into the doctor for my first appointment, and they just do an ultrasound. That's literally, you just go in and they do an ultrasound to confirm that you are pregnant and that there's a heartbeat. You don't actually, at least my doctor, you don't actually get to hear the heartbeat, I think because it's just so early on. But in the ultrasound, they can use it and somehow figure out what it is. Okay, I'm back. I ran and got the ultrasounds because as I was talking about that, I was well, it might be able to actually see some of the pictures. So this is from our very first ultrasound. So it's crazy, it's just a little blob. That was where they got the heartbeat, and the heartbeat at that point was 130 at 6 weeks. And the baby was measuring 6 weeks, 4 days, so a little bit ahead, but only by a couple of days. And so they, at that point, said that my likely due date was August 10th, which is what I thought it was. And that was literally it. I literally went in, had the ultrasound. It took less than 10 minutes, and then I scheduled my next appointment at 10 weeks. So at 10 weeks, it's crazy because you go from like the baby looking like literally nothing to it actually looking like a little baby in there. And it was so cool. With Charlie, I only had 2 ultrasounds in the beginning, but with this one I've already had 3. And so it was really fun. We could actually see the baby kind of like sucking its thumb, or it looked like it was sucking its thumb. So that was really cool. And the heart rate at that point was 178, and the baby was still measuring just a couple days ahead. But they just kept my same due date at that point. And at my doctor, your second appointment at 10 weeks, they like confirm everything still looks good. They ask you if you want to do any genetic testing, and I'm not high risk for anything. I'm not like over 35, and personally we just didn't want to do the genetic testing because even if something came back that looked like abnormal, we weren't going to do anything about it, and we just believe like it's in God's hands. And I've had so many friends who have had the testing for various reasons because of risk or their age or different things, and like close friends, and they've had really scary things come back, and then their baby comes out completely healthy. So honestly, I just didn't want to put that like pressure on us or like get something back that sounded scary, but it ended up being okay. Like it's in God's hands, and like whatever happens, like we're happy no matter what. So we decided against the testing. But after I had my ultrasound, then I met with the intake nurse, and she just goes over all of your like family history and stuff, which we had already been at that doctor, so it went relatively quickly. Like nothing much had really changed, and the only thing that we really discussed in detail was like my previous birth with Charlie. And I have a video of like kind of my birth story with him, so if you want to see that, you can check it out. I'll post it below or post it up here. And so after we went with her, then we met with a billing person just to talk about our billing and how things would work. And then after that, we met with the midwife. And at my practice, you can see doctors or midwives, and I really like to see the midwife. So I saw her, and once again, she did like a pelvic exam. She just talked about like my previous birth and how, because that went so quickly, like this pregnancy and this birth would probably go even quicker, and I would need to get to the hospital even sooner. And she just talked about like how things would progress when I need to come in for appointments, stuff like that, which was all basically the same as with Charlie. So that appointment ended up being like 3 hours long. It was really, really long. And then the last thing they did was they did some blood tests. So I had my thyroid halfway removed when I was in high school, and that's a whole nother story. But because of that, I've been on Synthroid, which is just like synthetic thyroid medication. And so because of that, that can affect the growth of the baby. And so they monitor that every single time I go in just to make sure my levels are normal, because if they're not, that can make the baby grow like at a lower rate. And so they keep an eye on that. So they did that, and I think they did just like a normal like CBC and normal like blood test just to make sure everything looked good and everything was great. So after that, I went back at 14 weeks, and that was just a routine appointment. I went in, did the pee in the cup thing. That was fine. Just had another appointment with the midwife. They did the heart rate, and everything was looking good. Tested my blood again for my thyroid. And the only thing we really talked about at that point was my nausea had gotten really bad. And so she gave me a medication, and I can't remember the name of it, and I probably couldn't pronounce it, but I'll put it on the screen right here because it was really helpful. She gave me some samples, and so that was nice because I didn't have to pay for it, and it lasted me until like the nausea kind of went away. And I mean, I was just so grateful for that because she said the medication was kind of expensive or could be expensive, and so I ended up not having to pay for it, which was really nice. And at that point, like, my main symptom was just the nausea and just kind of feeling like uncomfortable. I feel like with this pregnancy that I've grown like bigger sooner. With Charlie, I don't think I really was showing or like popped until 25 weeks at least. That's when you could tell I was pregnant. And then by like 30 weeks, like it was really like obvious. And so with this pregnancy, I felt like I'm already showing, like probably about 17 weeks is when I started showing, and like you could really tell. And then now that I'm at 20 weeks, like it's pretty obvious. Like I can't, like it's not, I'm not in that in between phase where you're like, you're looking kind of fat and not necessarily pregnant. So I'm happy to be out of that stage. But as far as like now being into the second trimester, I first started feeling movement at 16 weeks, and I just felt that like fluttering feeling, which with Charlie I didn't feel till late into 18 weeks. But then by 17 weeks with this pregnancy, I was feeling like movement, like I could, like the hands or the feet or something. And now that I'm 20 weeks, like I feel it all the time, which is really cool and really exciting. And just the other day, Ted actually got to feel the baby like kicking for the first time. We had been trying so hard, and I'm like, oh, did you feel that? And he's like, no. So it wasn't quite strong enough to feel like on the outside yet, but he finally got to feel that at 20 weeks. So that was really, really exciting. And then my latest appointment was my anatomy scan, which I had at 19 weeks, 6 days. And that's like the big one that everyone waits for. They check everything and make sure that the baby's looking healthy and there's no issues, and everything was amazing, like perfect. So we were so thankful. And that's also when you can find out if you're having a boy or a girl. Well, we decided that we are not finding out if we're having a boy or girl. We're gonna leave it a surprise. And so let me show you some of our pictures. So that's the baby, 19 weeks, 6 days. That's a little 3D picture that we got. And here's some more. That's like a profile, like the baby's like looking at the camera. So yeah, the heart rate at this appointment was 153. And like I said, everything looked really, really good. So I personally felt like with Charlie at the anatomy ultrasound, we had her write it in an envelope, but I felt like when I saw the pictures, I could tell if it was a boy or girl, and I was right. So with this one, I'm curious what you all think. So I'm going to post some pictures at the end of this video, some close-up pictures of our ultrasound, and let me know if you think it's a boy or girl. It's been fun hearing from friends and family like what they think, and I personally think it's a boy, but we have all boys in our family, like all of the grandsons are boys, so everyone's kind of hoping for a girl, but I really think it's a boy. Ted is one of 3 boys, and his dad was one of 5 boys, so I feel like boys just like run in the family. So if it's a girl, honestly, I'll be completely shocked. And I just wanted to say the baby was weighed 12 ounces at that appointment, and afterwards, after I had the ultrasound, then I just went and talked to my midwife, and there was nothing much to really say. Like, she just confirmed that everything was looking good, and I told her I was starting to feel better. Oh, the one thing we did discuss was I'd been really, really itchy, like on my boobs, on my stomach, which can be like a thyroid symptom, just like dry skin. I typically have really bad dry skin in the winter. So since they were already checking my thyroid labs, they went ahead and checked my bile acids, which can be, if they're like high or something, that can indicate kind of a serious condition called cholestasis. And I didn't think I had that. Like, there's more symptoms, like you have a rash and different things, and you typically have like itching like all over on your legs and stuff, and I didn't have that, but I just wanted to mention it and get her opinion. And so she just went ahead and tested it, and everything came back normal. So everything has been going so well with this pregnancy. I've overall felt a lot better with this pregnancy than with Charlie, and I've just been really grateful for that, because now that I'm chasing a toddler around, like it's good that I'm not really feeling tired anymore, and I'm not feeling nauseous anymore, and so that's been a huge blessing. Like I said, I'm going to post some pictures of the latest ultrasound, and you tell me if you think it's a boy or a girl. So I realized after I finished filming earlier that I never showed you my actual bump, and that might be, fun to see. So here we go. Alright, so this is me from the front, and then from the side. belly from the side. Here's it from the front. So let me see if I can get it to focus. So I have really bad stretch marks from Charlie. So like I said, let me get back into focus here. So with Charlie, I didn't start like really growing until probably like 30 weeks. So like I have really bad scars and stretch marks, which can be kind of embarrassing, but I try to just embrace them because it just shows that your body does amazing things. So it is what it is. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I appreciate all your support. Bye.